I'm Captain Coppin with Texas Fishing Tips, and this is your weekly fishing report. A little bit of high tide this week, and had some really strong winds. Usually when that tide gets up and those winds get high, I get over to the shoreline and catch plenty of redfish. That's what we've been doing lately. Up in here, all these little back sloughs up tight to the shore, and throwing some cut bait. When I can get a hold of that fresh menhaden, that's the best. But also, we've been able to get a few cut skipjack or just use cut mullet. That's just as good. And throw it up in here. Make sure your baits are hitting in the sand, tight to the shoreline. You can catch plenty of redfish. Back here in what I call the funnel is a good spot for reds. Way up in here. You know, when that wind is cranking, it could be blowing 100 miles an hour. This place is usually still pretty clean and clear. Though I look for the dirtiest spot in here, and that's the spot that I fish. But come in here. Try not to use your big engine in here, because this whole place is shallow except for a few little holes that are really only about 2 foot deep. Everything else is about a foot, maybe a foot and a half at the most. But right up against the islands, hitting the baits in the sand. If you don't have cut bait, live shrimp works real good under cork, or even we've been using sardines under cork, and that's been working well. You know, those sardines are real oily, even those frozen, been in a box for who knows how long. But they're real smelly. They got lots of oil. But this spot over here is good for reds when that wind is cranking, which it'll probably be cranking from now until the end of May. Over here in Deadman's, there's a big school of drum. Now, a lot of boats know about this right now. So the key to getting on these drum is to be patient. When you come in here, only use your trolling motor. Stay back. Try not to just chase them around a whole lot, because once you start chasing them, they tend to get a little gun shy and lockjaw. So what I'll do is I'll come in here and I might spend a good 30 minutes just sitting back, watching the school, watching what they're doing, trying to locate all the schools that I can. And then I come in here real slow, work the school from the top of the hole all the way down to the northwest end of the Deadman's. And I tend to catch more fish that way using just a shrimp on the bottom. Sometimes you can put a cork in a shrimp, but the cork can spook the fish. With that strong wind, you can put just a small egg weight right above your hook, or just a jig head with a piece of shrimp. And come in here, go downwind, throw shrimp, maybe break the tail off a little bit to let some scent, and catch those drum. Just be real respectful to the other boats that are already on the school. Try not to get in front of each other. Plenty of drum in here for everybody to catch. The key to catching them, though, is to work with the other boats that are already in here and kind of just sit back, watch the schools, catch them as they come by. Try not to force or push the school out of here, because once you push the fish real hard, they're more running than eating. If they're just sitting there happy and sitting on the bottom, even when they're stirred up on the bottom, you can see that brown water. Just sit back, let them eat, catch one on occasion. Work with the other boats. There's a lot of guides in here. There's a lot of weekend warriors. Y'all just be conservative with the other guides and the other boats in here. All right, back over here around Starvation. Last week I put this in the report. We've been catching good numbers of reds on this shoreline. That wind's been cranking. Of course, coming over here is a little dicey, but once you get back up in here, this water's been pretty good. What I've been doing is getting on the shoreline as tight as I can, and then get that wind on my back, that southeast wind, get up against here, throw live shrimp's been working best for me over here, but you can throw the cut bait too. They work it works just as good. You get a little bit more variety, a few more drum and trout with the shrimp, but you're also getting those reds. And we got a lot of tournaments coming up. So if you're looking for some good fish, right in here, this shoreline, wind to your back, coming around this point. You can't go too far on Starvation, because once you get out here, that wind gets pretty rowdy. The way I run it is coming down this shoreline here. When I come around East Clayburg, I come out of the tide gauge, come around right here, run the shoreline, watch out for some rocks right around this corner, and then just stay, about 50 to 100 yards off the shore, and you'll miss all those rocks in here. And you can see them. There's a little cabin right here. Just stay between the cabin and the shoreline. Run down around Starvation, come around this point. When you come around the point, watch out for a pole that's sitting right off this tip. It's kind of leaned over and just under the water. When those waves are crashing on it, you can see it, but if the waves aren't crashing on it, you can run right over the top of it. So just, like I said, stay about 50 to 100 yards off the shoreline. Watch out for wade fishermen, because there are a lot of wade fishermen in here. When you come up on this shoreline, go wide around the shoreline. Get up here, use your trolling motor, come down the shore, tight as you can, and then get that wind to your back and work all the way down to the point. Over here on the inside of Penascal, we've been catching some good redfish here. Put this in my report quite often, but during those strong winds, high tides, this is a great place to go. Get up on this flat, either throw cut bait in the big potholes and sand pockets, or make little drifts along here. When it's blowing real hard, the drift you're gonna make is so short. Even though it might be 200-300 yards, you can blow 200-300 yards in 15 minutes. That's a real short drift, and the more you come through here and drift through them and drift through them and drift through them, the harder it is going to be able to catch them. So what I recommend is, when you come in here on the inside of Penascal, you come out of ICW here, come down, get just inside this cabin, and then just kind of work your way down the shoreline. Get up tight to the shore, look for the kind of milky green water. That's what I kind of hone in on. That way you can see the sand pockets, but I've got a lot of them marked on my GPS. Usually on a calmer day, I'll come in here and I'll start marking these sand pockets. That way I know where my baits are hitting and where these sand pockets are, and try not to drift through them over and over and over again, because it makes it harder. The first drift you smoke them, the next drift you may get one or two, and then the third drift you may not get any. That doesn't mean the fish aren't there, they're just kind of running scared. So you just stay here with the trolling motor, power pull down, throw in the sand pockets, popping corks and shrimp, kind of just let it sit in the sand pocket and pop it on occasion. I tell my clients to pop it about every 10 seconds when you're power pulled down. That way you're not ringing the dinner bell real loud. You're just kind of ding every now and then, giving them a little something to hear and a little bit of direction for the fish to start coming towards your shrimp.
I'm Captain Grant Coppin. Thanks for watching.